Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. You can't see the screen. Sick. God dang it. Why is this the way that it is? Hello, DWT89. Welcome. Welcome back. I am having to I'm having some problems with my capture card. Give me 1 second. I am gonna go back to the waiting for stream screen. Although, let's see. Script, let's stop, reset. I am still here. Fret not. I'm gonna unplug the capture card, plug it back in, see if that does anything. What's up, 1v3? Welcome. All right, capture card, please work. It's not working. All right, sick. So it looks like I have to go through this whole song and dance again where I remove the capture card and then add it again. Capture card. Okay. There we go. Okay, well, now with that solved, kind of, I can actually get onto streaming. Let's see here. Perfect. Perfect. That's perfect. All right. How does the audio how's that working out? Let's see. Sounds pretty good. Um what do you use? I use the let's go actually into properties. Elgato Game Capture HD 60S Plus. It is it's quite expensive, but I've been using it for a couple years. It's been pretty good so far. Most of the issues that I've encountered with my capture card are a product of OBS and not the card itself. So this stuff that keeps happening where like it'll just show a black screen, that's not a problem with the card. The card is on. It's OBS not recognizing it properly as a device. I think it's like $300 or something. It's expensive, but it is probably one of the best capture cards that you can get on the market right now. I have the external model, which means it hooks up to my computer via HDMI, and then I just plug it into whatever monitor, and it's all well and good. And the reason I use this capture card particularly is so that I don't have to have my internal graphics card doing double duty, trying to worry about the game and also recording the game for whatever it is that I'm doing. All right, looks like we got a pretty active room of people. I think I should get into it right away because there's for once there's actually some good news to report. I love me some good news. So everybody knows about the United States' favorite orange man, Donald Trump. But did you know that he's actually in one particular state? He is now ineligible for president. Like you're just not allowed to vote for him. In the state of Colorado, a case was brought to the Supreme Court, the state court, mind you. Yeah. The Colorado Supreme Court rules that Trump is disqualified from holding office, citing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. That's the section about insurrection, by the way, which says if you commit acts of sedition or insurrection against the United States, you can't run for public office. Like you're legally not allowed to. And I think the reasons for that are pretty intuitive. Like you tried to overthrow the government of this country, why would we let you be in charge of the government, you know? If I read further here, in the Colorado suit, the Twitter post that I was looking at actually links to the court document itself. And the first paragraph here reads, in this appeal from a district court, the Supreme Court considers whether former President Donald Trump may appear on the Colorado Republican presidential primary ballot. Oh, so he's not even on the primary ballot. That's wild. A majority of the court holds that President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Because he's disqualified, it would be a wrongful act under the election code for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate on the presidential primary ballot. The court stays its ruling until January 4th, 2024, subject to any further appellate proceedings. What that means is basically this doesn't go into effect until January 4th, so that Trump's lawyers can have time to appeal the case. And the reason that they picked January 4th is because the date of the Republican primary election is on January 5th. So this is actually even more significant than I thought it was initially. You know, Colorado is a pretty safe Democratic state. But now, you know, Republicans in Colorado are going to have to pick somebody other than Trump. The process of the party internal elections in the United States is such that they like pick a field of candidates beforehand, and then you have to have time to set up the election. And then for the Republicans, that election is on January 5th. So if Trump can't like get this ruling vacated or whatever before then, he's not going to be on the ballot for his own party. Never mind for the like proper presidential election when it's the candidates from the opposing parties going at it. Yeah, this person needs to explain. The Trump team is obviously expected to appeal this to the Supreme Court, but time is of the essence given the Secretary of State has said they're required to certify a list of candidates for the GOP primary by January 5th. So it looks like this is actually going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States. And if you know my thoughts on the Supreme Court of the United States and their sort of record on things like this is going to be a total shit show, one way or the other. This is going to be wild. Because the Supreme Court of the U.S. could do one of two things, right? And there's ample motivation for them to do either one, right? The American Supreme Court has been experiencing, like, a legitimacy crisis. Ever since Roe v. Wade, people have, like, increasingly been open to the idea of just not doing what the court says. And for good reason. The court is unelected, they are appointed, and they are appointed for life. You know, there's no accountability for anybody on the Supreme Court. But even that has its limits, right? So they could either consider their legitimacy in a time like this and rule that Trump is ineligible to be on the ballot for president, whereby he will be completely excluded from the presidential race altogether, which would give them at least some public trust to work with. Or they could also take the other path, which is a lot of them are hardcore pro-Trump judges. Many of them, quite a few of them, were appointed by Trump himself. And if they rule in his favor, if they rule actually Trump can be on the ballot, then, you know, congrats, you've got your favored candidate up for the presidency. But now the Supreme Court is going to basically be completely gone. Flat Earth Dennis 69, welcome to chat. So that's what's going to happen as a result of this. Like, this seems like it's just one state. It seems like it's just one state, you know, deciding that Trump can't be on the ballot. But if this makes it to the Supreme Court, it's going to be a whole lot more. And ultimately, if the decision stands, if it like somehow doesn't get up to the Supreme Court and the decision stands, other states are going to see this and think maybe we should do the same thing. Because then, you know, if this withstands legal challenges, it would be like considered good precedent for other courts to make law off of. So I think we might be looking at a 2024 election where Trump is literally ineligible to be on the ballot, and thus, you wouldn't be allowed to vote for him as president, you know? And I think that's the best possible outcome that we would be looking at, is the outcome where Trump gets barred from the ballot. If Trump wins, America is a joke. Yeah, it'd be worse than that. If you know what Project 2025 is, America would be worse than a joke. It would be an entire black comedy. You know, Trump is basically the last desperate attempt of the Republican Party to stay relevant. You know, Project 2025 is the Republican plan to basically fill the entire government with right-wing cronies, like the Nazis did in Germany, or Franco did in Spain, or Mussolini did in Italy, or like Stalin did with the Stalinists in Russia. And if that happens, that's it. But hopefully that won't happen. So this is a huge deal. This is a really, really big deal. At least Trump will make his boyfriend Putin happy, at least. Yeah, you know, at least it'll make Putin really happy. My prediction is that it is unlikely that Trump will win the election, but there's an uncomfortable chance that he will. And if he does win, that's not good for anybody. Except for maybe like big business owners. Maybe. Oil rainbow. You know, it took long enough, but January 6th is finally starting to catch up to Donald Trump and his allies within the Republican Party. And he'll get to chance to take over the world economy again, like in 2017. Yeah, that's also a possibility that I don't look too fondly upon. You know, China doesn't have the greatest political influence on countries around it. You know, we can play the game of like. Obviously, I would be willing to acknowledge that both China and the United States are really, really bad at engaging with other countries on the world stage. Like, the big countries do, like, super, super exploitative things. But at this point, I would much rather that be America than China, because, believe it or not, America's actually been getting a little bit better about interacting with the rest of the world lately. And China has been kind of falling off as far as their influence goes, at least from what I've heard. You know, the United States isn't quite acting the same way it would have during, like, the Gulf War or the Vietnam War in the recent couple of years. And, of course, China's economy seems to, like, I don't know how close they are to collapse there, but, like, their economy is not on very stable footing. Okay, thank you for throwing that. I don't live in America, but it exports all the dumb shit around the flat earth. This is why Trump winning is concerning to me, lol. Yeah, that's right. America has, and, you know, it's not just, you know, you're absolutely right that, like, America exports a lot of things around the world. That's part of being a global hegemon, is that America has a lot of what are called cultural exports. In fact, I've seen firsthand some of the worst elements of American cultural exports myself in these other countries. And those would only get worse if Trump were to win the presidency, because not only we be exporting those same bad things, like car-centric infrastructure being one of them, but we would also be exporting like anti-democratic values, and that's not a world I want to be living in. I don't want to live in the world where the global hegemon is a fascist country. You know, like the US has plenty of problems, but like there's at least something to be said about like having certain democratic norms and institutions. We have MAGA dumbasses in my country even. Yeah, that majorly sucks. And it seems like the whole world has been experiencing some version of like right-wing populism, unfortunately. You know, with Trump in America, you can say Javier Milei in Argentina, Bolsonaro in Brazil. Who else? The AfD in Germany, the whatever political party it is right now in Italy, the National Front in France, and Sweden Democrats, whoever. Like the politics of the world is so intricately connected that a victory for the right wing would in like the most powerful country in the world would be disastrous. You know? So yeah, it's pretty good that Trump is being institutionally locked out of democracy. It's just a shame we can't do the same thing to the whole Republican Party, if you ask me. But you know, I think that's a slightly different discussion. Chad, Colorado, true. Yeah, if other states see this and take note. Thankfully, we impeached our worst right-wing populist presently, but he's been holding power ever since our independence. My country's getting more progressive, but fascist victory in America will probably change that. Yeah, that's right. That would be the case for a lot of countries around the world. You know? Yeah. So we gotta not let Trump win. We gotta go vote. Of course, Joe Biden isn't making that very easy. You know, not providing the most illustrious alternative, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Remember, states what Colorado did will be on your test, so take notes, guys. That's absolutely right, and that's what I hope, you know, happens. In fact, this has happened with other legal decisions and precedents in the past, is that when one state adopts something, that provides a reason for other states to potentially do the same. You know? And of course, I have no doubt that, like, the other states that do this early on will probably also be blue states. You know? But eventually, I think eventually there's going to be some sort of national or federal level discussion on the matter, and that's the big thing. Flat Earth Dennis 69. Nice. Thank you very much for the follow. Amazingly, I have not hit any walls yet. Is this a thing you can do? No, it is not. Why did they remove that? That's so dumb. Dang. I tried. Real ones remember. You used to be able to do that on this track. I'm just gonna chain this. Oh. Don't mind if I do. What? What in the world? What is going on? I'm bouncing everywhere. Whew. What's your opinion on the increased militarization of Europe? I don't know why they removed that shortcut. You know, I have mixed opinions on Europe remilitarizing as of late. On the one hand, I think that Russia, you know, invading Ukraine and whatever does provide some really good and legitimate reasons to remilitarize. and things like that, because Russia has like pretty big territorial ambitions, which, let's be real, belong back in the 19th century with the rest of the old empires. But at the same time, it is also a little bit concerning because Europe is currently experiencing like a right-wing backslide, you know? Like I mentioned, the Sweden Democrats are a big mainstay of Swedish politics, AFD in Germany, Orban in Hungary, right? And I really don't want a militarized Europe under the conditions where the far right is in charge of government. My country wants to institute service by recruitment, and it has already been approved by the president, and I really don't want to serve Lamau. If it's service... Oh, requirement, not recruitment. Okay, I misread that. Service by requirement is really dumb, and that's a terrible idea. Greece, I think, is one country in the EU that still does this. I know Morocco still does this. They're not in Europe, but service by requirement is a really bad policy idea, and I don't like it. The United States has, I don't think, has ever had that policy for very long, and whenever there has been a draft, there has been some pretty big political discourse and some pretty big protest movements over the draft being out. You know, there were, as far back as the Civil War, there were draft riots in the United States when they put out a draft. In World War II, people went along with it a little bit better. In Vietnam, people didn't like it very much. And that's because nobody wants to go and fight and die for the interests of people who have more money than God and don't give two shits about them, right? You know, I think as long as there is the concept of a military in this world, it has to be a voluntary recruitment model where, like, you have to want to join the military, and you know, you're not like forced into it or whatever. Okay, that was really awkward for a section. Alright, so I see your comment there. I'm gonna have to get through this section first. Alright, there we go. My country really needs to increase the military spending. Per capita, we already are one of the highest spenders, but those numbers need to be buffed up. Military spending is a different issue, right? You can increase military spending without going to a service by requirement model. You know, the US regrettably does this year after year after year. There hasn't been a single year in the United States in my lifetime or even my parents' lifetimes where the amount of money spent on the military decreases. In fact, I think that's been the case every year since the Second World War. And for most of those years, service was purely a volunteer thing. You could not be drafted into the military. So I think those are you know, when we're talking about the requirement of service versus military spending, those are different things. And I think it is a smart move for Europe to increase the amount of money it spends on the military, at least somewhat, as long as they don't employ the logic of like, oh, well, because we're doing this, we have to cut other programs, which inevitably they will, and that's stupid as hell. But yeah. We need American freedom here. Where are the military bases? True. I mean, in Europe, there's a lot of, there's plenty of military bases because we're allies with most European countries, but... you know that, Orban from Hungary first didn't get the first didn't get to vote against aid for Ukraine because he was on the toilet. He did get back in Europe, uses EU rights to still prevent Europe giving aid to Ukraine. I did see that. I did see that, like, first of all, genius move for the European leaders to hold the vote while he was taking a shit, right? But then the fact that he was able to come back and be like, actually, I'm vetoing this is stupid. The fact that he can just do that. We almost had him? Yeah. I'm Lithuanian, so we're right next to a war zone, lol. Yeah. And I think for those states, for Finland and the Baltics and the, you know, the countries that immediately border Russia, having an increased amount of spending on the military, it, you know, somewhat increase, like I said, not the insane increase like the United States does all the time, is a smart idea because there's a neighboring country that is openly hostile, and you want as much of a deterrent as possible from them invading, especially since they've demonstrated that they're willing to invade neighboring countries if they think they can get away with it. But even in the face of that, service by requirement is a bad policy. I live in a region military planners say will be invaded first in a NATO war with Russia. Yeah, that can be nerve-wracking as hell. But ultimately, I think, Russia does a lot of posturing, but they cannot afford a large-scale war with a Western bloc. First of all, because that would mean nuclear war, and not even Putin is that stupid. But then second of all, because Russia and everybody else knows that if Russia provokes a ground war with the entire military alliance of NATO, Russia will lose. And Putin also doesn't want that. Does that mean we get to rest on our laurels? No. But, I live in the Suwalki Gap, which is the first target in any war. That sucks. That's got to be, like, nervous all the time. Like, oh, there's Russia. There's the country that wants to annex all of us and probably do unspeakable things to the civilian population and rebuild the Soviet Union, a failed state that, treated ethnic minorities fucking horribly. Not that modern Russia treats them any better, mind you. That depends if the agreements are honored. Yeah, I see no reason that well, I was gonna say I see no reason for like the West to not honor their agreements, but like appeasement was a thing that happened in the past. Ultimately though, right now, it seems like as long as the West is unified in saying like, if Russia attacks, we will defend our comrades, then it's like, there's no way Russia is gonna do something that insane. Because Article 5, right? Like, Article 5 of NATO is a legally binding thing. And, like, that's how being in a military alliance works. That if one country is attacked, the other countries have to come to its aid. It's not a thing they get to, like, say no. Beautiful landscapes, very old language, Baltic country, part of the Polish-Lithuanian Empire, and the name has to do with rain or something. Really? Is that, like, the meaning of Lithuania? Like, huh. I mean, what I know about Lithuania is, again, small Baltic country next to Russia. Again, very old language, you're right. And pretty high non-religious population. Probably pretty cold as well. And they have pretty good internet there, as far as I remember. In fact, it has some of the best internet in, like, all of Europe, last time I read up about it. The rain stuff is a joke someone made up. No one knows where the name came from. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I guess for that one, you would need to, like, consult several professional linguists whose job it is to analyze that sort of thing, and they might not even be able to tell you for sure. They'd probably disagree with each other. That's the case for quite a few countries, or like, lesser-known language-speaking countries and stuff. Just remember searching it some years ago, something about a small river or rain. Lithuania was also the first to leave the USSR. Oh, cool. That's cool. Dude, the USSR is such a scourge on the world even after it's gone. So, like, the USSR is, it, like, call the UK JK because it's just a joke. Ah, that's true. The UK is a joke. It's also a dying country, which is very sad. But like, the USSR did so many horrible things during the time that it was around, right? Like, the fucking half the stuff you would read about in 1984 was directly modeled off of Stalinist Russia. Like what Stalin did in the USSR. The anti-Semitism, the suppression of minorities, the fucking weird revisionism to the point that you can no longer engage with reality. The, like, idolization of Big Brother, the forced confessions, and, like, weird reprogramming, deprogramming stuff. And then that's just what made it into a fictional text. That's not even to mention stuff like the Holodomor. We never had most of that because we were fascist lands ruled by bandits. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm glad you at least got off relatively easy. But then, like, even after the USSR is now gone, right? There are still people that cling to it as some sort of icon of leftist praxis or whatever. And it's like, no, they were just another fascist state. The only difference is they painted a hammer and sickle on their flag when the Nazis were painting swastikas on theirs. You know, like if you analyze the political attitudes, the policy making, and the, like, organizational structure of the USSR and Germany at during World War II, they're not all that different. Right down to the anti-Semitism and the, you know, the, like, expulsion of ethnic minorities and whatever. But for some goddamn reason, there are people on the left ostensibly who will say, like, no, the USSR was great and leftist actually because it was painted red, which is it's a real disservice to the ideas that socialism and whatever else exists on the left has to offer, you know? Like, let bygones be bygones, guys. Culturally, the worst thing you could do back in Soviet Lithuania was bring back a Russian wife from the army that used to bring shame to the whole family. I don't doubt that. Every country has a lot of cultural baggage. I know stories of Lithuanians of the Red Army being attacked for being Nazis. Yeah, that's part of how the ethnic hatred manifested in some ways, and that makes it really difficult to sometimes to distinguish who was actually like a Nazi collaborator at times, and then who was just an ethnic minority that the Soviet state didn't like very much, you know? Oh, can't believe I made it through there. I think I'm gonna use this here. Yeah, I think that was the best place to use that. Oh, dude, speaking of Nazis, have you guys been paying attention to what's been happening in Argentina? I've talked about that a little bit. Oh, by the way, the Soviet propaganda on America always wanting to invade the USSR created the bloodiest guerrilla war in Europe right here in Lithuania. Oh yeah, that's not surprising. It's honestly, it's wild that, like, they were able to get away with manufacturing that because, like, America and the USSR are a world apart. And even back then, there was, like, I think people generally acknowledged in government that, like, nobody wants to start the nuclear war. Nobody wants to be the person that pushed the button that ended humanity, right? And the most dangerous thing about propaganda like that is that sometimes it contains a kernel of truth. It, like, and a ground invasion post World War II, absolutely infeasible for any country of that size versus any other country of that size, right? Like, no shot. Um, but I have no doubt that they reference the very real events of like the immediate post Russian Revolution period when like there were a bunch of countries and expeditionary forces that invaded Russia unsuccessfully, and they like clung on to that because that was such an effective propaganda tool. Because the USSR talks so much about America wanting to invade that started a war in Lithuania because uh, people believed America would invade and liberate them. Oh, dude, that's so sad. Jeez, man. Goddamn Soviets. They give socialism a bad name, dude. Honestly, I actually wouldn't be too upset if somebody just decided to rebrand socialism as like something else. I don't know. Because for fuck's sake, we need to distance ourselves from that horror show. 40,000 partisans dead. God, that's a lot of casualties. They don't teach us about this stuff in school. Dude, you know what's actually insane? They don't teach us about that in school. They teach us, oh, having a command economy means you're doing socialism, and that's bad, actually, because that's not free market, and free market is freedom and shit. 140,000 civilians is 70% women and children exiled. Dude, that's beginning to sound like more and more just ethnic cleansing. I am surprised. I am shocked that I did not learn about this in any of my history classes. I guess such as a consequence of a very America-centric worldview. But, you know. Honestly, America has done like half of the legwork for the Soviet Union for it, because like we don't even talk about the real shit that happened in the Soviet Union half the time. You know, it all just gets boiled down to one number, and they don't like. I was never taught about like that guerrilla campaign that lasted for fucking ever. I was never taught about the Holodomor in school, you know? Like, hell, dude. You could at least teach me why things were bad and what exact things were happening, aside from, oh, they painted their flag red and they did command economics, so that's pretty bad. Russians already tried that in the Russian Empire, but that didn't work really. Yeah, it seems like it's almost like empires have a tendency to try to expel and eliminate ethnic minorities, and you know, empires are bad, and you know, states are do pretty fucked up things, you know. I did learn, for what it's worth, in college, I did learn about the Russian Empire mistreating and expelling the Crimean Tatars from what is, well, the region of Crimea. The written form of our language is banned for like 100 years, but we just smuggled them. Yeah, it was, you know, similar thing I think with other countries in the USSR. They banned Ukrainian for a while. They might have banned whatever language they speak in like Kazakhstan and those stuns that used to be part of the USSR. Many partisans were actually evil, so this isn't a good thing to fully support them. Yeah, I'm aware that like any partisan group opposing a nominally socialist government, you're bound to have a few very unsavory political factions in there. Yeah, and just because like literal Nazis were there. Oh yeah, and that's what I brought up earlier when it like the flippant nature of the Soviet Union calling everybody that dissents in the Soviet Union a Nazi makes it very hard to distinguish at times who is a Nazi and who isn't. Because you know who the Soviet Union also fought against? Actual Nazis. So, you know, really not making things easy for anybody. The Soviet Union. They're not making anything. Yeah, if anybody's out there, you know, just and wondering about like, you know, is this guy's a leftist? You know, not all leftists, you know, not all leftists like the Soviet Union. It's only the really stupid one. The leader of the local partisan group, who was was last captured, the chief of the partisans was tortured and killed, which was sad. Yeah, you know, that's a fate that nobody should wish on anybody. And, you know, even if it is a Nazi, like, war crimes are still war crimes. Even if you're doing it against a population of people that have, like, very, very backwards ass political sentiments and whatnot. You know, there's a reason that we have these standards. And it's because they should be applied universally. Imagine calling one of your soldier units the exterminators and then expecting people to like you. Yeah, you know, I can't imagine that endeared them to anybody, shall we say. Also, I'm kind of getting messed up this race. Destroyers might be a better translation. Yeah. And of course, that's not a very appealing title either. If you know, you're coming at this from the perspective of a otherwise not super involved civilian, you know. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. First place, let's go. That's so cheap. I raced that so bad and I still got first. I used items pretty effectively that race, though. Oh, I'll say that much. Oh, speaking of destruction, I want to get to the next thing. You guys taking a look at what's going on in Argentina lately? I knew things would be bad in Argentina. I have to say, I have to admit, I never in a million years did I think things would go this wrong this quickly. My initial prediction for when Javier Milei won the presidential race was that, yeah, things would suck, but it would kind of be like the Trump presidency in America, where maybe they come the laughing stock of whatever international community they're involved in. Their economy suffers for a few years, and they come out the other side damaged, but like still standing. Javier Milei has defied all of that. He has destroyed the Argentinian economy in one stroke of the pen. And I do mean one stroke of the pen. The thing I'm referring to here is that he decided to cut in half the value of the Argentinian peso, you know, their money, and say like, oh, instead of it being, I forget how much it was to the dollar, it was like four. Let's see, Argentina. What? Let's see. Yeah, okay. So instead of 400 Argentinian pesos to $1, now it's 800, and he just decided that. Apparently that's a power that his federal government had or has, and they decided, you know what? Now your money's worth only half as much, like on economic stuff. This from the guy that said he was gonna like, I don't fucking know, rebuild Argentina. Honestly, I don't even know what his promise was on the campaign trail, aside from dismantle the Argentinian government. I guess he's delivering on that promise, funnily enough. But you know, you can imagine what an already crisis-stricken country would experience if you decide to make the crisis literally twice as bad, in a single go of it. And then to add insult to injury, it actually doesn't even end there, if you can believe it. There's another thing that Javier Milei ended up doing that he's rightly getting a lot of negative attention for in the press. And I'll check that out once I am through with this race. I can't exactly look at it right now. I can give a couple of details from what I remember reading earlier. So, as is the case in most countries, Argentina had a protection for protesters and journalists written into the law. This is a pretty good idea for any modern country, any democracy, and whatever. That, like, if you're at a protest and things go wrong, or things get a little bit noisier than usual, or whatever, and the police get antsy, time to liberate Argentina? Maybe. Maybe they need some freedom, quote unquote, air quotes, Pepe, etc. Like, basically, if you're at a protest that maybe turns into a riot or whatever, you have some guarantees that, like, the government can't just come in and arrest all the protesters and journalists, because that'd be pretty fucked up, right? That's generally the handbook of what not to do as a democracy, arresting, protesters and journalists and stuff. However, Javier Milei's government has announced that they're going to crack down on protests. They just decided to do, actually, I think a similar thing to what Florida did, which is like, hey, if you're protesting and you're blocking the street, you're fair game. Which kind of defeats the whole point of protests. Protests are supposed to a certain degree, be disruptive. They're supposed to, like, put a stop to normal life to an extent so people can pay attention to what the protesters are saying. Let's see where the details of this are, because there was a specific thing mentioned that they just repealed right straight up. Let's see, where is the I think they use the word revoked? Repealed. Ah, yes, here we go. The guarantor protocol of Nidagare is repealed. They just said that outright. They're like, all right, no more protections. That's the protocol that I referred to having some version of it in most countries in the world by many different names, but effectively doing the same thing. If you go to a protest, you're legally allowed to be there because that's part of you exercising your right to express yourself freely. Journalists can be there too, and the police can't just round you up and arrest you or, like, beat you up or shoot you. In fact, part of the guarantee in this case is that police are, I believe, only allowed to use rubber bullets and only on the defensive. But Milei's government decided, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. Fuck you. So, there goes Argentine democracy for however long that lasts. In conclusion, yes, it very well might be time to go in and liberate our brethren and sisterin in Argentina. I can't believe I got that on mirror mode. Democracy is overrated anyhow. I'm gonna assume that's a joke. Liberal democracy definitely gets. But, I don't know. I kind of like democracy. Nice. It's nice to know that you have some influence in it. Some truth in that as well. Yeah, like, okay. To go into that a little bit, there's a couple different things that people sometimes mean when they say the word democracy. When we're referring to governments and states and whatever in the modern world, there's a model that most countries employ to some extent that is called liberal democracy. And that model means that, you know, you have the parliament, you have the executive, you have the justice system or whatever, and like you elect your representatives and that sort of thing, right? And that definitely has a lot of problems that have gone pretty overlooked for a pretty long time, right? But democracy as a concept, I think, is probably the best mode of political organization that we have, which is basically to include as many people as possible in the decision making of like the country or the region, or in the case of worker democracy, businesses as well. So I think democracy as a concept is a great thing, but democracy insofar as like liberal democracy is indeed overrated and severely flawed. The problem is there aren't that many countries that do politics with a better model than liberal democracy. You know, there are better political models that we know of, but there aren't any countries right now that employ them. Nor have there been for, like, a very long time, I think. We're a semi-presidential representative democratic republic, whatever that means. Yeah, okay. Like I said, a lot of liberal democracies, you know, there's a lot of procedural and granular differences between all of the, like, democracies of the world, but a lot of them have some similar core principles, and that's like, and that contains some of those principles where it's like, oh, you elect your president or whatever, and then you have the parliament, and you have the, you know, elected representatives and whatnot, and a lot of times it means there's not direct democracy, you know. I think there would be improvements to be made if you could just vote on that stuff. RS will get my ass if I say one thing about communism, Lamau. Yeah, I imagine that's the case. In Eastern Europe, especially, the label of communism really doesn't go over well, because the states that called themselves communists back in the day did, well, really bad things to a lot of people. And in fact, it doesn't fly very well in America either, because that just reminds people of the Soviet Union and, you know, geopolitical enemy. You'll get fined? That's actually insane. I was referring to, like, social ostracization and, like, people not liking you very much. Holy shit. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, you've got some serious problems. I guess I take for granted the fact that I could just speak freely in America. Dude, I could go on a street corner and start just talking about communism, and that's perfectly legal in America. But holy shit, like, if you show a hammer and sickle publicly, that's kind of insane. I think that's a same thing with the swastika. The swastika I can see a little bit more of a reason behind, but, like, Christ, man. You see, even in America, you know, you can't get fined just for having a swastika on you. Now, there are certain things that, like, can elevate the severity of a crime if you're found to have things like that. You know, like hate crimes in America. Having Nazi stuff on its own is not a hate crime. But if you're, like, saying some shit about, like, we're gonna kill the Jews and whatever, and you have Nazi stuff, then that's a hate crime, and you get a worse penalty for that. Yeah, it's considered a hateful symbol in America as well, but it's like the symbol by itself doesn't make you on the wrong side of the law there. And honestly, I think I prefer that, where it's like it makes whatever you did worse, but just the symbol itself isn't enough to get you fined, you know? Because it's a similar thing with like, it's a similar thing with the hammer and sickle in the United States, where, like, you can just have a hammer and sickle on you. Some people might consider it a hate symbol or whatever. It might be listed as a hate symbol under some registry somewhere, but, like, you won't get in trouble for having a hammer and sickle unless you commit a crime that could potentially be motivated by the fact that you have the hammer and sickle. If that makes sense. You get in big trouble. The EU calls it unacceptable even. Yeah, okay, you know, seems like I'm on the side of the EU with this one. That's a little bit weird. You know what? There's actually a really good example of what I'm talking about that I can recall recently. A little while ago, there was there was actually a Nazi demonstration in America in, I think, like, where was it? Minnesota? It was just these like 25 guys who were wearing black shirts and had like a swastika flag and whatever, and they went marching around the city for like an hour. Ohio, I think. It was one of those states, right? And them just doing that, having that flag and just marching around the city isn't enough to get you arrested, because that's a form of peaceful demonstration. They weren't actively, you know, they weren't threatening anybody. In fact, they tried to like, them doing that is a form of them trying to bait people to interact with them, and nobody interacted with them, which means that it was just a pathetic little Nazi march of 25 guys, and they all looked pathetic. And I think that did more to make Nazis look stupid and bad than any law in America could have. The fact that they marched and they were just this pitiful little group of pitiful people representing a pitiful ideology, and nobody else agreed with them or liked them, you know? Also, Devs9, welcome to the chat. Just got the friend code command up and running after last stream. I put it into Nightbot, so it's good to see it's working. I'm gonna just use this now. Ah, no. I didn't mean to clip that. To clip the edge there. But I guess the point of what I was getting at when I mentioned that little Nazi march where those guys went out and were looking all pathetic and whatnot, is that, like, you want the far right and the unsavory political elements of your country have just enough rope with which to make themselves look really stupid. Because Nazis making themselves look stupid, that makes people not want to be Nazis, because they're all about strength and being macho and whatever, and people look at that and it's like, you guys are fucking pathetic, you know? You know, you're talking all this shit and then you get, what, 25 guys to have a little stupid parade? Like, yeah, you really showed them. And that's contrary to countries like Germany, which has actually been having some problems with the far right, where the far right has sort of learned from there being a lot of laws against their like more open existence to go underground and just slowly infiltrate the government institutions to the point that now, like, the AFD is actually a threat in government, which really sucks. I can't believe that happened. Although I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Like, obviously, the fact that hate crime laws exist is a good thing. I think it is absolutely reasonable to say that, like, you know, if you beat somebody up while wearing, like, some Nazi stuff and screaming about the Jews, that is a much more severe crime than if you just beat somebody up for no reason at all. The swastika is historical and cultural in Lithuania simple, but it's still banned. I read a story once of a person drive here, hold on. Swastika is a historical cultural Lithuanian symbol, but it's still banned. I read a story once of a person driving around with a swastika on a steering wheel, so the cops just ripped out the whole steering wheel. Lol. That's kind of funny. But also, I think that, like, for better or worse, where the swastika was like a cultural symbol in some ways before the Nazis, now it's been so tarnished, it's been so ubiquitously associated with the Nazis that, like, I think it needs to be more or less socially excised from our cultural repertoire. Like, it shouldn't be a socially accepted thing. Legally, it can be all well and good to, like, have a swastika flag in your house, but it should, you know, it should be the case that if you do that, you basically socially isolate yourself from everybody who's not insane, you know? Sorry to interrupt, but are you on Retro Rewind? It says you aren't on Weemfi. No, I'm on CTGP. The politician who has recently been impeached said the EU is 2 times worse than Nazi Germany and the USSR combined. That is false, I think. But also that is indicative to me that they're probably a Nazi. Because in order to believe that, you have to be highly Eurosceptic, which a lot of people on the far right are, and you have to have an incredibly more favorable view of the Nazis than probably your average person, which, you know. I didn't charge up my mini turbo in time. Got impeached for screaming homophobic slurs at gay people. Yeah, that about tracks, I think. Sounds about right to me, anyways. Let me just get rid of these red shells. Oh, shit. That was quite a throw. So far, so good, actually. I'm driving pretty good this race. I actually, to Devs 9, if you're still there, I haven't, I've never played, Retro Rewind. I've only ever played CTGP online. And I tend to not use, Dolphin emulator for any of the, like, the custom track packs that are, like, exclusive to Dolphin emulator or whatever. I usually don't use Dolphin for Mario Kart Wii. I was never able to figure out, like, the controller issues and stuff, but, you know. He's famous for this clip getting carried out in a bag by the cops while screaming for Lithuania men and just acting like a Karen, lol, and also having a secret gay lover. Of fucking course, dude. I could have told you that part from the get-go. The more homophobic somebody is, you can check out another video of mine that I've made on this subject. In fact, I've made a few of these videos. The more loudly a conservative is screaming about gay people, and the more loudly they scream homophobic slurs, the more gay they are. Because it's all, like, they're all just repressing it and stuff. They're just projecting it out onto everybody else. They see gay people everywhere because they are the gay person that they see everywhere. No one's surprised? Yeah, true. I keep getting proven right about this over and over again. And honestly, it feels great. We will accept him into the queer community if he dissociates from the Nazis. I think under those circumstances we will accept him. I got a mushroom. Cool. I'm very scared of that guy's red shell. Must admit. No, that was the wrong combination of things to happen at that time. Me. There's a Zoom. There's a clip of him during a Zoom call where he was discussing politics, chilling in bed with a naked guy, then turning off the camera after he saw it was on. That is so perfect. That is, I could not write that better if I tried. Like, you could take that to a professional comedian and they'd have a hard time coming up with a funnier and more fitting scenario for an anti-gay politician. Here's the clip for your education. Oh, we gotta see that on stream. I gotta bring up, after this race, I'm gonna bring up the reaction window just so we can see this glorious clip. Holy shit, I'm about to get absolutely. Probably have to use this here. Hi, Snappy Roblox. Welcome back to the stream. Good to have you here again. Yeah, second. Wow. All right, let's open up the clip. Oops. Let's open this in a new tab. Okay. All right, we have to look at this. What's this? Let's see what's up. All right. Random. Where is the React Andy thing? Here it is. Window. Where is it? Is this it? This is it. Okay. All right. Is this on worldwide? Yes, it is.
Hello.
Oh my god. This is him in the middle thing right here. That's him and his boyfriend. That is so perfect. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude. I'm actually so glad that we saw that. Turns off the camera. Yeah, I had it on screen just long enough to see the part where he turned off the camera because he realized. So good. So good. He's just a huge content farm, not gonna lie, Lamau. Oh, believe me, I might put that on the content list. You know, I got a couple other videos queued up, which I'll probably get to like a lolcow for IRL politics. Yeah, kind of like George Santos in America. Ah, damn it. You're just grinding VR? Respectable. I got a couple other videos that are queued up for probably for 2024 because I'm currently working on some other stuff that I hope to get done with by the end of the year. But I will definitely add that one to the list. The Lithuanian what was it, former PM or somebody? Whoever that guy is. Being all like, no, you can't be. No way, that's okay. One of his quotes: "Women should love men, and men should love cock." I mean, women. He was a minister. Okay, yeah, dude, that is. It keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better, dude. This man is dedicated. Gotta respect it. Yeah, he's literally the like incarnate gay version of that meme. Hi, can I have a latte with breast milk? I mean, breast milk. I mean. He's literally that, but gay version. We have to restore our cultural values where women love men and men love cock. I mean cock. I mean cock. God damn, dude. Three mushrooms in third. That's kind of crazy. So, okay, I think there's a section coming up where I have a hard time. Oh. Uh-oh. Am I back? Am I... I think I got disconnected for a bit. I was disconnected from the other players. Oh boy. The other clip I sent you is the gay icon getting arrested. Oh, baby. Perfect. In fact, I need to confirm. It looks like I disconnected for a bit. While I'm waiting for stuff to get back up, I'll take a look at that. Huge content farm. All right, here we go. Oh, okay. I see. All right. All right, now let's see this one. Oh, you would. Fuck, I'm gonna get copyrighted for listening to that music. But you weren't kidding when you said he was in a bag. He's just in the bag. Cool. Please no copyright, YouTube or Twitch. It's perfect. It's everything I hoped it would be. He was shouting slurs with a megaphone in a pride parade. That's why he got arrested. Yeah, and you know what? In the United States, that would get you arrested too. This goes back to what I was saying about like hate crime laws, where like just the speech or the object itself isn't enough. But in the context when you're at a pro-gay demonstration or like a pro-queer demonstration, and you start yelling slurs into a megaphone, that is interpreted as a threat motivated by like your hatred of queer people, and that would get you arrested because it's a hate crime. In the clip, he's screaming for Lithuania men as if he was fighting for your rights. The average, of course, average call of the oppressor is that they are fighting for the oppressed, and by the oppressed they mean the hegemonically dominant social class. Basically, every far-right politician does some version of that, you know? Hitler with the Germans, Putin with Russians, and like you know, this guy with Lithuanian men. Even you know, Republicans in America do that with white people. They for a little while they kind of backed off of this, but they for a little while tried to take the party line that, oh, the real racism is racism against white people, and tried to make that like a core bit of their platform until they realized that it probably wasn't gonna work out too well to say that like fighting racism is bad, because if you say that, then like that means that you're against being against racism, which means you're in favor of racism, right? And of course, he doesn't give a shit about the rights of men either. You know, you get this with the pickup artist types, the men's rights advocate types. You know, they claim to be all about the rights of men, but you know, when you take a look at the things that actually afflict young men who are a very socially isolated and lonely group. They're like very wide scale problems that demand wide scale solutions that would help a lot of people. You know, like a lot of the issues that plague men are also issues plaguing women, plaguing you know, people who are poor, you know, people who are vulnerable in other ways, uh, people who are part of the queer community and stuff. But you know, when you actually bring up solutions to those problems, then they don't actually want to hear it. They're just interested in refuting feminism or whatever it is they're refuting. Him wiping his boogers on the seat in Parliament meeting again. A legend. Dude, fucking. I need to. Holy shit. Unironically, I heard that and I was like, I need to tell my dad because he's gonna think that's funny as fuck. Because like it used to be such a. Him and I have a very similar sense of humor, but like it's such a childish fucking thing when it's like, and then he picked his boogers and wiped it on his seat. It's like, dude, what? God damn. Oh shit. My Machiavellian instinct strikes again to throw green shells at people. Ah, dang. I didn't hit the panel. Nobody likes him, to be fair, lol, but he stayed in power for like 30 years? That's a long time. And then, although, you know, yeah, that's one of the flaws with the liberal democracy is that you get stuff like that, where nobody likes this politician, but they somehow stay in power for decades, you know? A similar thing happened in Britain with the Tories. And there's a similar thing happening in the U.S. right now with Joe Biden. People don't really like Joe Biden, but it's like there's only two parties. It's the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and so it's like, well, we have to choose who's less shitty. He's kind of funny though, not gonna lie. That's what you sometimes what you hope for when you get a bad president. It's like, well, I at least hope he's funny, you know. Which, you know, politically speaking, when you're doing the very serious politics thing, you know, that doesn't matter as much. But it does matter from a perspective of like, how easily can you kind of make light of your current situation? You know what I mean? We won't be able to run for office for the next 10 years because of our impeachment laws? Really? That's good, I think. You know, I don't think you would want somebody like that in office for however long after they've committed some crime worthy of impeachment. Ooh, that was the most bizarre section of all time. I gotta see this one. I'm not gonna watch this on... I'm not gonna show it on stream. But I will watch the video of him picking his boogers. Oh, dude. Oh my god. Maybe he will pull a Kissinger and live 100 years, though. Yeah, and that's always a possibility. I mean, you got all sorts of old geriatric fucks in politics that just won't die fast enough, you know? What's that saying? Only the good die young? Something like that. Jeez. The hope for me is that, like, obviously it seems that Europe is having an episode with the far right, you know? You know, this guy in Lithuania, the BBB and the whatever Freedom Party in the Netherlands, and I got bumped off. The Alternative for Deutschland in Germany, you know, all that stuff, right? But the thing is about, you know, about these fascist parties is that they look dumb and they also are dumb. Like they're really not good at running a government, you know? The Netherlands and Finland are two really good examples of this, where the far right government had you know, the reins of power, and the government collapsed under their watch because they can't, you know, do their job to save their lives, you know. And so the hope is that they before they're even able to do a significant enough amount of like damage to democratic institutions, that they're like weighed down by their own incompetence, and like the government collapses, and then everyone's like, oh wow, so you're actually just a clown show. Okay, nope, we don't want you. There's a shortcut at the beginning there that I don't know what it is or how to do it. Oh, that's a shortcut, huh? Fourth. Okay. Damn, dude. I'm trying to think, what other country is there that like unpopular parties have been in power for a long time? I guess there's France with like Macron hasn't been in power for as long, but like people don't really like him or his party, you know? They don't like either party in the UK, really. Um, that's one of the flaws of liberal democracies is that it seems like there are a lot of barriers to good policy making and not a lot of barriers to bad policy making. I don't know exactly how to phrase it other than that. One of our former presidential candidates, failed registration, described as an anti-queer activist and convicted fraudster, once sued a queer activist for sexual assault because he kissed him on the cheek. Boy. Isn't that, like, not that big of a deal in Europe? Like, kissing somebody on the cheek? That's just, like, a regular old greeting in some countries. I know in France it is. But also that's hilarious that, like, he just went there and tried to sue somebody just because. Oh, it fell off. What? I hit the ceiling? I didn't know that could happen. Or maybe I did, but I forgot that was really a thing. What? You can hit them? Damn. Wrong place to take that turn, buddy. I drove so horribly lap 1. Alright, let's try this again. Alright. Get through this patch. Alright, I'm back to not driving too bad. A star. Try this again. Go. Might be catching up just a little bit. Give me this box. There we go. Where's the next box? Here it is. Yes, perfect. Wait, is that a shortcut that I don't know about? Kind of crazy if true. In the clip, he even smiled after getting kissed, and then once he saw the news, he immediately said, "I'm suing Lamau." Lithuanian politics is hilarious. To be fair, we do get like, I feel like that's kind of like a thing in a lot of country politics where it's like, oh, haha, they're gay behind closed doors, and then it comes out that they're gay. It's like, actually, I'm suing you and everybody else. That is incredibly funny. That it's like the video had him like being kissed and he was like, oh, thank you, that's so nice, and that like no evidence of any like being uncomfortable, and he was like, nah, just kidding, they found out that I'm gay, I'm suing you. Average Lithuanian far righter. Oh, what? Come here, idiot. Damn it. Okay, star? That's not bad. Use a spout here. Golden mushroom, also not bad. Let's do a little something like this. Now, I want to get an item here. There we go. Good. Oh, is it faster to like skip that part or something? These guys are all comp players, I think. I'm not going to be able to hold my own very long. Ah. Okay. Damn it. Can't not get a box here. One mushroom. I mean, that's better than nothing at all, but I'd rather have something better. Being that I'm in third, I don't know if I'm going to get it. No, god damn it. Of course he's going to red me again. Ah. All right. I mean, I don't think I raced particularly well that race either. Yeah. I'll be real. I can't hang with the sweat lords in this game anymore. I just don't know enough of all the time trial strats for all 256 tracks, because the tracks change every now and again, and I don't play Mario Kart that often. I play it on stream, but like I don't play it off stream. So these guys are gonna pick something like Lunar Lights, where there's a bunch of those little tricks that basically win you the race if you do them. Lunar Lights, the tricks aren't as drastic as some other tracks, but there are some issues, I think. Oh well. Disco Fever. I played this track? I feel like I remember what this track is, but I'm blanking. It's this track. This is still in the pack? That's kind of wild. No, 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 dude. Damn it. Thought I would get a mushroom or something. I guess I shouldn't have assumed. What was that? I've never seen that clip before. That wall clip. No way, that kills you? Ugh, dude. This track shouldn't be in the pack, man. That's such a bad design element. Alright, give me item. Alright, that's something. Okay. Please? No, I'm losing to Kanye? Don't make me lose to Kanye. Get out of here. Might have passed him, but I'm not sure. I passed one of them. Still can't get over how much I believe Jubilee is producing garbage videos on purpose. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. Yeah, and that is actually why they do that. They do produce the videos that are bad on purpose. They know those videos are bad. That's why they get so much engagement. It outrage farming online is a very effective way of getting clicks. News articles do this a lot too, to the extent that a lot of times there are news articles I'll have to just completely disengage from because I know the title is supposed to be provocative and then the article is going to say a whole lot of nothing, and then I'm going to have wasted my time and given the news site more traffic than it's actually due, you know? And Jubilee just does a worse version of that where they do the clickbait bullshit videos that don't do anything for anybody, you know? Why all media should be owned by Trump to prevent fake news. This is true. This is 100% true. I see no problem with this. He will prevent all the fake news from circulating. Everything will, yeah. It'll only be real news. The Trump brand news or some shit. Honestly, I think I'm going to have to use this golden mushroom early because I can't. That was actually an incredible way to use that, I think. Get out of here. I hate that I left school before Candace Owens could ever come to it. Oh, did Candace Owens end up coming to your school? Be careful with those things, though. Like, be very careful. I think we all wish we could be that guy that, like, shows up, Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh or whoever. But the reason that right-wingers do that is to induct, more people into their, like, right-wing circles. Because the method they employ is basically like they have the right-wing speaker person on the stage, right? And they hold all the power in the room. So even if it seems like it's just you and them, it's actually not. It's you and them and their podium and their microphone and their media team and their media training, and they can cut your mic at any time. They can tell you to leave at any time, it's very rare that one of those things goes well for the person challenging the right-wing speaker who's up on the stage doing their thing, But I won't deny that there has actually been the rare instance of that going well for the person in the audience. My country is planning to send $2 billion for tanks. Hopefully the Germans won't send shitty ones. They're probably... Yeah, I've been in a... Regarding the tanks thing, I've seen how that sort of political game plays out. No country's going to send its, like, top-of-the-line tanks, unless we're talking about America and Israel, in which case the U.S. sends an ungodly amount of equipment to Israel. But, like, countries always, like, want to protect their military secrets, even if they're in an alliance with other countries. So they're not going to send, like, their best equipment. They'll probably send good equipment. Did you see the clip of Matt Walsh being confronted on religion? I think I did see that. There's a couple clips more frequently now than ever of those right-wing guys trying to create that environment where they, like, debate somebody in the audience and they actually have all the power and still losing. Matt Walsh was one of those. Ben Shapiro had one of those moments as well. Also send 2 tank brigades into our country. Okay. Need some debate prep. Yeah, having debate prep in a situation like that actually goes a long way. You just have to know how to not lose your footing. I've been in a debate recently with my region's police chief, a famous policeman from a cop show, and a few representatives from government organizations. That sounds cool. It sounds really cool. Debates can be pretty fun. Yeah, I've had debates before with people, both in a real life setting and actually on stream. I've debated a couple people with mixed results, but I think now more so than before, I'm better at I'm definitely better at debating nowadays. And one thing's for sure, it does help to have that debate prep, to be well read on the topics and stuff, and to be familiar with the talking points. They've built their entire career on not wanting to look weak. So if you, if they tell you to leave, it makes them look triggered. Yeah, that's right. And actually, like, I remember one of the things that, like, really sealed it in the debate between the one guy and Matt Walsh, I think, was that, I think the guy in the audience was like, I think I'm just going to leave. It doesn't seem like you're answering my question or whatever. And then Matt Walsh said, no, wait, come back. And, like, all of a sudden, it was the guy in the audience that had the power over the situation, which is very rare. But, if you're really rhetorically skilled, you can do that. That's definitely possible. Oops. Those guys were all jousting and stuff. They got stuck behind the wall there. You know, and more often than not on my Twitch channel, what I'll do is like instead of having the debates just you know, on my own, oftentimes I'll do debate reviews where I like watch a debate that somebody else has had and sort of go over like what people are saying and like review their performance or whatever. +0 exactly. Very cool. Since, you know, in order to get debates with people, you have to kind of have a platform, at least in the sense that like you're able to start shit. I don't know, like that might not be the exact right way to put it. But also it seems like, and I don't know if you've noticed, the right wing has been less and less willing to engage in debates as of late because it's like they keep getting blown out every time. Debate is an optics game? It is. It definitely is. You know? You know, unfortunately, being right is not really what determines who performs better or who quote unquote wins the debate. It's more so like who looks better, who's more composed, who is more confident, who, you know, is not letting the other person get to them. And because the right has actually been going so insane over trans people, they've been losing that optics game a lot recently. No, damn it. At least I landed on the boost panel. I'll just use this here. Got a box. Oh, another shock. Cool. I think I got the first place person after the boxes, but I don't know who else I got. Loving all the people, by the way. Yeah. Cool to have people here in the stream chatting and stuff. It's rare that I get many chatters. Definitely, it's good to have you all here. Let's do this. I might want to chain this at the next item set. No, why did I do that? I had to know that something like this would happen. I'll just try to get the next item. Give me this. Yeah. There's a shortcut up here, right? You go, yeah, to the left. Yeah. Jeez, man. Oh, well. Dude, this is a really high-level room, though. I'm gonna stick with this for as long as I can. Or actually, for the last, like, 15 minutes of stream. Oh, hey, there's some non-political news stuff as well that's been happening that's really interesting to me. For a while we were like waiting in anticipation, but the volcano near Grindavik, Iceland has like finally erupted. I think it erupted on a couple days ago now. And it's been erupting this whole time, which is wild. Where's the Grindavik volcano? Oh yeah. There's video of it. There's it's like this 3.5 kilometer long crack in the ground that just opened up and it like a lava started exploding out of it, which is crazy. Timothy can't get his nether portal. Very sad. Yeah, true. And I've seen and I saw the video of this, and it's like it's kind of hard to comprehend because everyone got to stay home. Timothy can't get his nether portal. Yeah, that's right. They evacuated Grindavik and all the residents, and most of them have been like relocated to I think Reykjavik, which is not going to be super affected by the eruption, thankfully, because like the smoke and stuff is all going in the other direction. But like when when you're looking at the like, oh, what the fuck, what are they doing up there? When you're looking at the eruption, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's not in slow motion. It's a really really big thing, because all that stuff is just molten rock. So it still is as dense as rock and falls at the same speed as rock. And the video about it is just absolutely crazy. It's like, it's actually a different kind of volcanic eruption than I've seen in other places. You know, there's places like Hawaii that have volcanoes that are like more or less constantly erupting, you know, and that stuff is actually safe enough that a lot of people visit that as like a tourist thing, like as a tourist trap, you know. Is this faster? Is this actually faster? I didn't know that. All them funkies up front. Yeah, I think I'm in over my head in this room, just a little bit, but that's okay. You still get some good content and stuff. And I'm not that far behind, funnily enough. You know, it seems like you know, with Grindavik, the eruption is just violent enough to constitute like a legitimate threat, and like it's not a very good idea for people to be located around the area, you know. And I do mean like the area, not just in front of the volcano, but like the whole thing. You know, it's probably going to be a quite a while before people can actually properly return to living in Grindavik, you know. It's going to be a long volcano eruption. Jeez. Herein comes the design flaw that I critique a lot of custom tracks for again. That there are alternate routes that you can do shroomless that win you the race. Basically, like, you saw how far behind I fell behind, like, the first lap for not doing any of those alternate routes. That's the kind of thing that I genuinely believe is bad track design. Even if it's fun in the moment, it's not good for the quality of the race, you know? I think if you're going to have tracks like that, they need to be restricted to a distribution pack that's exclusively meant for competitive players. You know, they shouldn't be in something like CTGP, the most well-known and pedestrian custom track pack. In my opinion, though. I know the Sweat Lords probably feel different because they win on those tracks. So. I haven't played this track in a while. This one's cool. Okay. Couldn't get an item. Give me this box. This is a good spot to use mushrooms on that Icy section. Holy shit, I got bumped so hard. One of the first and only ones I played, actually? Really? This track? That's cool. I think a track like this one is definitely a good way to be introduced to custom tracks or to CTGP. I really like this track because it's simple, it is not hard to understand, and I don't think there's a whole lot of like the super extra knowledge that you have to have in order to be good at this track. At least none that I can discern, anyway. Oh, why would you target shock second and third? Well, I guess maybe they wanted to get first more so than anything. Get me out of the way, please. Thank you. God damn it. Need an item box. Not what I wanted, but okay. No way! Oh, that killed my whole race! Ah, dude. That shows me not to, bank my success on items. Oof, indeed. One mushroom. I thought I would get, like, one mushroom, and then that would have been enough. That would have been enough. But, yikes. You gotta be careful with that sort of thing. You know what, though? That's content. So, ultimately, I don't think I regret it for the sake of the stream. Because the thing, like... The thing that gets me in those races... Like, the VR doesn't get me anymore. Whatever. Get it out of here. The, like... The accidents and the whole, like... Sometimes the way that things go wrong in one of those races, that can get to me still. You know, like the whole, you're on off-road, it's very likely that you'll get a mushroom, and then you can just get a red shell. But like I said, again, that's content. Infernal Pipe Yard. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, I think they removed the other Pipe Yard track. Yeah. Dude, there's a Yoshi mock bike user. Mad respect. This is one track where I can kind of bring the mock bike and its advantages to better use. All right, give me item. Gonna throw it. Yep, knew it. What's your highest VR ever then, if you care enough to remember what it is? I think you were actually here for that one. It was like 9,700 or something like that. I got pretty close to 9s, and then, you know, just got fucked up a bunch and lost it all. But, you know, just because I had 9,700 VR didn't mean I was necessarily racing any better than I am right now, you know? Did you know that, No, I fell off. Did you know that, the Russian region Smolensk actually is Lithuania? Is that, like, the Russian word for, Lithuania? Or, like, means the same thing? Or is it like there's some Lithuanians that live... There's a lot of, like, Lithuanians that live in Smolensk? Oh, it belongs to us? No. I try to not engage with any of that stuff, that territorial stuff, too much. And also, I think that's not a good thing to really think about. Oh, dude, he's on the Wild Wing? Damn. This guy knows what's up. Barely lived. Barely. I cannot believe that I am alive right now. Gotta love some Wild Wing lovers now and then. Yeah, absolutely, dude. I will be happy with a middle spot. With this room, I would be happy to get 4th or 5th. 3 green shells, that's at least some protection. I don't know what all it's gonna do for me. But, okay. No, you're not gonna pass me. Oof. Basically, a while ago, the Russian Duma drafted a law to revoke the recognition of our independence. So our MP kindly reminded the Russians that the 17th century Treaty of Smolensk, where we lost Smolensk, can also be revoked. Oh, like, is there I'll probably do one more race. So if I understand what you're saying correctly, the Russian Duma drafted a law to revoke the recognition of Lithuanian independence, or was it the independence of pro-independence Lithuanians in Smolensk? Was it like the actual country Lithuania, or was it people living in Smolensk who wanted to join Lithuania? And then the Lithuanian MP said, like, hey, you know, if we're playing that game, we can revoke Lithuanians that live in Smolensk. Okay, I mean, in that sense, I would support that. You know, I'm big enjoyer of peaceful independence movements, and even, like, violent independence movements, if, you know, if it's justified based on the circumstances of life being, like, dire enough, you know? I did not know that. And I hope that, you know, Lithuanians in Smolensk get what they're looking for. No Lithuanians. Oh, you meant that 0 Lithuanians live there. Oh, well, then you guys have no claim to it. I'm sorry to, you know, be harsh about that. MSX Matt32767 VR. Thank you very much for the follow. I don't know how I read all that while I was driving. I'm very cautious of land claims, even when there are a lot of people with pro-independence sentiment living in an area. But, like, I don't think it's a very smart idea to have any politics that involve, like, territorial claims and ambitions and whatever, because that engages with, like, that treads on, like, blood and soil rhetoric, you know? And like, ultimately, like, great, now this piece of land belongs to country X instead of country Y, right? Like, I don't see how that's, like, a, you know, a super good goal, because a lot of times it requires a lot of upheaval, instability, and stuff to get there, you know? We lost that land in 1700s and shit. Yeah, I know, the partitions of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, right? Those were brutal for the people living there, of course, because that's the nature of imperialism in general. But, you know, I would no more support that than, you know, whatever. Oh, okay, it wasn't serious. So that's good, that's good. Because the Russians wanted to revoke our independence, we just basically threatened fuck you to the Russians. Before then? Oh, okay. I think I understand what you're saying. It was like, in that case, I'm all for that, because it's like, you know, bringing it up as like, hey, this is the logic you're using, and you know, you can't really stand on that. You know, that's perfectly fine. You know, so like Russia making territorial claims, and then you guys saying like, well, we have just as much claim to you if you want to play that game. Like, that's fair. Oh, this was before the part. Okay, yeah. Yeah, then I think I might still, in that case, I think I know what you're talking about. So before the partitions of the Commonwealth, they lost land to the Russians, and then that was like what they're referring to here. Because the Grand Duchy, we can even claim all of Eastern Europe. That's true, you could, but you probably shouldn't. You know. Yeah, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania was really fucking big. Not 69, if you know what I mean. True. He's actually 68 and a half. He's close enough. Yeah. I do like, I don't usually want to inquire the specific age of anybody in my chat, but sometimes it is good to know whether you're like of age and stuff, like whether you're older than 18. So depending on like how what kind of topics I'm talking about, it can be really sensitive if there are people who are like underage in my chat, you know? Because that's happened before. But anyways, thank you so much for coming out to the stream. I'm glad I had a very active chat today. But I am tired. I got a lot of stuff to do this week. I'm just unusually degenerate for my age, lol. Hey, I am the self-proclaimed gimp of all degenerates. That's not the word. Pimp of all degenerates. Thank you very much. They are all my gimps, actually. That's what I meant. So I totally feel you. But in that case, I got a lot of stuff to do this week, and you know, stream usually only goes for 2 hours every other day, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, which is, for people in Western Europe, it's like 6:30 p.m. But I guess, you know, if you're in Eastern Europe, it's probably even later. So, you know, I appreciate it if you can turn out, but, you know, obviously no pressure at all. And I will raid Cody Schwab. Yeah, I guess I'll see you all later. If you like Mario Kart, then maybe you'll like Super Smash Bros. Melee. 10 p.m. not that way? Okay, that's good. I guess. Yeah, I'll see you on Friday for the last stream of 2023.